Don't you just love it when productivity and creativity line up so perfectly and you're able to work in flow? With the Ulanzi D100H creative controller dial, you're able to do just that. What's good? RJ Bakula here with another review of an awesome product from Ulanzi. Lately, I've been using their Stream Deck type consoles and have been a mainstay on my desk setup both at home and at work. Now, Ulanzi have released something a little different, but yet somehow fits perfectly into the workflow of their deck docks. And it's this D100H creative controller, a dial-type peripheral that makes certain functions and activities so intuitive, especially if you use creative apps like Adobe Photoshop, Lightroom, or DaVinci Resolve. Full transparency, Ulanzi did send this to me for free, but they have no oversight at all over this video. As always, these are my own honest thoughts and opinions. So let's give this dial a spin and see if it truly gets your gears rolling with your productivity and creativity. But first, Now, I was pleasantly surprised when I unboxed the D100H dial and picked up this hefty little device. I really thought it would be made of some cheap plastic and be lightweight, but there is quite a considerable weight to it, being made of a very sturdy ABS polycarbonate plastic material and all-metal aluminum alloy dial, as well as the motorized mechanisms inside. The solid build quality not only makes it durable for long-term use, but the hefty weight gives it stability on your desk, so that it doesn't move, slide, or wiggle while using it. Of course, there's also rubber feet underneath to keep it sliding. Again, I was pleasantly delighted by the quality of its build. I will also mention the design is sleek, black, fairly minimal, with an almost industrial look to it. To be honest, it sits perfectly with my desk setup. The real measure of quality with this Ulanzi dial is if it actually works and makes you more efficient and productive in your creative tasks. I've been using it now for the past 2 weeks, mainly for editing tasks in DaVinci Resolve. I can truly say I am able to edit videos exclusively on the dial and my mouse without having to use my keyboard at all, or barely, if ever. Although there's free presets or profiles on the Ulanzi marketplace for apps like DaVinci Resolve and Premiere Pro, and specific ones for just editing or color grading, I still like mapping out the D100H buttons with my own assignments. For example, the main 3 buttons on the top I've assigned Ripple Delete, Split, and Fast Forward. The 2 side buttons on the right are Undo and Redo, and the left side buttons are Ripple Delete Left and Ripple Delete Right. Of course, there's no one way of doing it, and it's completely up to you how you work best. I've seen some people use a dial with their right hand and a console deck with their left. And that's what's great about this whole Ulanzi creative controller system, is that it's completely modular, unlike some other dedicated peripherals. In this instance, I'm pairing the creative controller dial with the Ulanzi D200H deck dock, which has additional assignments that I couldn't configure on the dial controller alone. Not only is a D100H creative controller dial ultra useful and productive as a tool, there is also an added element of pleasure and enjoyment from the tactile experience of handling the device, particularly turning that big metal dial. There's a built-in haptic feedback when rocking the dial, where even the most minute and incremental turn gives a pleasant tactile click. The buttons also have a clicky tactile feel, reminiscent to mechanical keyboards that use the clicky blue mechanical switch. Lastly, it's always nice to handle a cold metal solid dial with grooved ridges on the edge for added grip and a small crater indent for your finger placement, great for long continuous dialing. The software to configure the D100H creative controller is Ulanzi Studio, the same downloadable software that configures their previous tactile controllers, like the D200, D200H, and the new D200X. It's super easy to connect and assign functions with simple drag and drop. There's actually layers of functionality that you can possibly do. For example, holding different buttons while using the dial. I personally love how easy it is just to assign your personalized shortcuts. Assigning shortcuts and hotkeys on your keyboard can be annoyingly tedious, but once that's done, you're just designating the keyboard letter to the D100H creative controller button. Too easy. I also have to mention the Ulanzi Studio Marketplace, which have some ready-to-go preset profiles for your favorite editing or photo apps, as well as for coders and developers. And guess what? They're absolutely free to download, unlike other marketplaces like the Elgato one. And that brings me to my next point. The price of the D100H creative controller dial is extremely accessible for less than $40 US. Considering the Toolbox Elite and the Blackmagic design speed controller are more than 7 times the price. The closest competitor both in price and functionality is probably the popular Logitech MX Creative Console, a dial and mini Stream Deck modular combo that goes for around $200 USD, which is still 5 times the price of the Ulanzi dial. With the D100H creative controller, you are truly getting value with its excellent build quality and improved quality of life functions from using the dial. And that's what I've always loved about Ulanzi over the many years I've bought and used their products, is that they make it accessible without sacrificing quality and functionality. To be honest, there's not too many cons I can say about this product. Really, I'd just be nitpicking or making a wish list of additional nice-to-haves, but not necessary functions. If there was one thing I would change or improve on the Ulanzi dial controller, it would be the clicky sound profile of the buttons. They're very clicky and quite audible, which might not be the most ideal when you're working in a shared space. In the mechanical keyboard hobby space, clickiness is often looked down upon. With the next iteration, I would love for Ulanzi to use a different kind of click mechanism that isn't as audible, but still retain a nice tactile feedback. A bad habit of mine is eating my lunch at my desk setup. So one time in the office, while using the D100H during my lunch break, I got some greasy smears over the metal dial from my grubby fingers. I made the mistake to use a wet wipe to try and clean it, and it left a new kind of smear that I couldn't get off even after wiping it with a dry cloth or napkin. Only after a few days did it finally disappear by itself. Now, this isn't really the fault of Ulanzi, but it is something to be mindful of when cleaning the dial controller. Lastly, like I said, this isn't really something necessary to the functionality of the Ulanzi dial, but a nice-to-have feature would be something like the software-powered action ring button of the Logitech MX Creative Console. It will give the Ulanzi dial an added layer of intuitive functionality suited for creative tasks. But I understand this is more of a software integrated feature. Nevertheless, it'd be real cool if Ulanzi had something similarly innovative like that. After a recent firmware update, I just found out that Ulanzi did introduce a kind of action ring function, which they call Wake Up Preset Pop-Up. But it's accessed from any accompanying Ulanzi deck controller. Whenever you click the wide LCD button on the console, a ring-like pop-up menu will appear wherever your mouse cursor is, and you can instantly choose one of your dedicated profiles for your Ulanzi dial or deck dock. It'd be nice to modify this a bit more, where you can include additional software contextual actions. Otherwise, I must say it's pretty neat. Do keep in mind, at the time of this recording, this feature is still in beta testing. If you're finding value in this video so far, please do give that good old algorithm a bump by hitting the like button or subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. The Ulanzi D100H creative controller dial is a worthy accessory for your desk or productivity setup, especially if you work in a creative space and use apps like Photoshop, Lightroom, or DaVinci Resolve. Admittedly, there may be a slight learning curve at the start as you transition to this new workflow mode, but once you're accustomed to it, it does become second nature with its minimal yet intuitive functionality. I would even argue that the Ulanzi dial is more useful to me than a Stream Deck type controller and makes my creative process not only more efficient, but also enjoyable. This will definitely be a mainstay on my desk setup. If you're interested in purchasing the D100H creative controller dial or any of Ulanzi's awesome products and accessories, you can find links below in the description. Actually, the Ulanzi dial pairs great with the recently upgraded D200H and D200X deck docks, which I made a whole comprehensive review right here. Do check it out. Until next time, reframe your mind.